All right, comrades. So today I have a special customer interview. Brought with us is Rio Palma, who's a 16-year-old barber out of Connecticut. And Rio went from making 2.5K a month all the way to last month now making 8K a month as a 16-year-old part-time barber. So Rio, I mean, like, first and foremost, dude, you're 16, you're still in freaking high school, you just made 8K last month. How does that freaking feel for yourself?
Bro, honestly, it feels really surreal because when I first started, like, cutting hair and barbering, I never, like, ever in a million years thought, like, this, I could really make this my career. Like, I'd always see, like, people on TikTok or people on Instagram, obviously, like, EM members, like, New Era members. I didn't know that before, but I knew after, joining, and I'd always see them making these crazy amounts of money. I'm like, I wish that was me. Like, I wish I could be doing that too, right?
Yeah.
So, once I joined and everything, we got off to a good start. And then last month I just hit 8K. And when I hit that 8K, I was talking to, like, my parents and I was talking to my brother, and I was like I was just asking them, like, general questions about money. I'm like, so, like, what's the most you guys ever made in, like, a month? What's your guys' average month looking like? I'm like, yo, what? I'm really making, like, the most amount of money in my family right now. It's just, it feels so weird and, like, still trying to get used to it.
Yeah, like did you tell your parents you made 8K last month overall, or like?
Well, so no, I didn't really tell them. Like, I didn't really tell them we didn't celebrate. But generally, like, every Sunday, I give money to my dad to go put into my savings account because I'm still under 18. So everything gotta go by him still, kind of. I think from because last month I hit 6K, which was, like, my top before this month. I mean, February I hit 6K, which was the most until March, right? So, like, starting from February, like, every Sunday when I was giving him money, it just kept rapidly going higher and higher. So before, I remember I used to give him like 300, maybe 500 at most, I mean, per week on Sundays for, like, my savings. And then, it would start getting higher and higher from, like, 1K. And now I remember I gave him a 2K one week, and it was just like, it felt so weird. And then, like, I feel like me and him both just kind of knew. It was just like, damn, this is crazy.
Did your dad say anything to you about that? Like, did he kind of just give you a look, or like, did he say anything like, dude, what's going on, or?
Bro, my dad, where kid you not, all he was just like, just make sure your school is good. That's all he cares about, bro. I don't know.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, like, you're 16. How long ago did you start even cutting hair, dude?
I started cutting hair a year and a half ago. So it was the summer of my freshman year going into my sophomore.
I guess for you, man, you're a year and a half. You're still in high school. Like, you cut hair. Like, do you cut hair in a garage, or where do you cut at?
So, nah, I started off. So, actually, I just got a memory today. It was me a year ago in the basement of my house. So my mom, she sells, like, clothes in our basement, and she also has like a little station where she does eyebrows for people, and she had a chair there. So I was like, you know what, why not, like, we could kind of share the chair and I could start cutting it. So that's where I started cutting. And after that, I moved into a shop over where I am, Manchester. I was in that shop for, I'd say, like 4 or so months, and then a month or two ago I moved over to a shop over in Vernon, which is like a town away.
So, like, you just moved over there. I guess for you, right, like, you started off cutting a year and a half ago. What made you even want to grow the business, even join, like, into the mentorship program and get help in growing and scaling this thing up? Like, most 16-year-olds, dude, they're not really worried about scaling their barber business up. Like, what intrigued you, or like, what made you want to, like, actually, absolutely, I gotta go ahead and get on this thing?
Honestly, first of all, it's my drive, because within myself, I have a lot of drive. When I actually have a passion for something, I really want to get it done. And also, like, I feel like with barbering, I was really passionate about it, and I was like, damn, this could, like, I thought to myself, I was like, yo, this could be my career, and I'm passionate about it. That's something so rare, especially so young. I was like, let me just go all in. And plus, like, one of my main whys was, like, I remember, like, still now, like, my dad, this dude works 24/7. Like, he's always working. I've been seeing that ever since I was young, and I was like, I need to give him some rest, like, and that's also one of my, like, 2025 resolutions, is to, like, retire him by the end of the year, not only through barbering but just in general, right? But yeah, so that was one of my whys. And then I remember I had saved up some money, and I was like, you know what, like, yes, this is gonna affect me, but I'm investing in myself. That's probably the best thing anybody could do right now.
Yeah, I guess for you, like, what went through your head? Like obviously, I mean, how long you been seeing, like, what we do? Like, how did you even come across, like, what we do overall? Like, how long you been seeing it for? What was going through your head to be like, absolutely, this is the direction I want to work with these guys? Like, outside of, like, that why and drive.
So first is, like, you can see the results. That's what it is. Like, with anybody across the barber industry right now, out of all barber mentorships right now, EM has the most most literal like results that you could see. You see all these guys thriving. Where are they from? From the new era of barbering, right? And I would always see this, and I remember there's also like a free version of it, right? So I was in that for I think like 6 or so months before I really joined, but I never really like did anything with it. I never really paid attention to it. I never really paid my mind to it. And then I remember I hopped on a call and I got onto another call, and I thought, oh, it was maybe for the free thing again. And then it was like, no, it was like an actual like mentorship, and I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And then so yeah, I ended up doing it, investing on myself so far.
Yeah, I guess for you, Rio, right? Like you get into the thing overall, like how was like the first like 30, 60 days for you? Because obviously, like, I mean, like, look, you're a 16-year-old kid. Like I know like a lot of other barbers, like some of them have like families and stuff like that. Like how was it for you? Did you feel like overwhelmed? Do you feel like locked in and focused? How was like coming into the thing overall for you?
So I say for the first like 45 days, I was straight head on locked in. I was straight locked in. You know, I was doing everything I could, and then I'm not gonna lie, due to like school, everything, like from the 45th day to maybe like 70th day, I was just like super burnt out. Like personally, I was just super burnt out, and I was just like, damn, what am I gonna do? And then so I was just like super burnt out, and then I was just like, I need to flip that switch again. I need to lock back in, and that's what I ended up doing.
I guess for you, like, what did you do to get yourself locked back in? Because like I don't know, even for any barber, it's like, you know, you kind of go through like these modes of like, you know, going super hard to get burnt out. Like, what did you do to really like lock yourself back in? Not only the program, but obviously to scale to 8K a month.
So I remember one of the things, I think I was reading the terms and services, and it was like you only get a refund of the elevated mentorship if you actually put in the work. So I'm like in like the 75th day, I'm like, fuck, I can't even do a refund. Like I'm not putting in no damn work. I just wasted all this money for no reason. So then that just flipped the switch to me. I was like, yo, if I really put in the work, I'm gonna get the results. The only reason I'm not gonna get the results if I don't put in the work. So I just kind of realized, I just went through that realization. I was like, I remember I hopped off a call with my coach Tiago, and hopped off the call. I was just sitting there for like a good 10 minutes, and I was like just thinking to myself, like, yo, imagine a couple months from now, imagine a year from now where I'll be if I put in the work, but also imagine a year from now if I keep staying what I'm doing right now. Imagine a year from now I'm not gonna get nowhere, you know? So it's just that realization and that like urgency of needing to do it.
I guess for you, like, I guess reflecting on like the time inside of, like EM, like in the 90 days you were working inside there, like what was like your biggest lesson or moment that really helped you in your business grow overall?
One of my biggest lessons was, so I remember I was still doing everything, like posting my videos and all that, and then especially one of the biggest tools in EM too, I was doing my videos and all that, and then I had hopped off call with my coach, and I remember seeing a video in the community where it was like go through the modules multiple times. So I remember like the first time I went through the modules, I had kind of skimmed over through it. I put it on like 2x 3x, and I was just like trying to get by it quick, you know? I wasn't really paying attention and all that, but then I really took my time and I went through the modules once again, and it was just like, it was kind of eye-opening because the amount of stuff that's in there that's actually like so useful, and like even like the little tweaks that could change your video. Like for example, one of the reasons my videos weren't doing so well before compared to now is like my lighting, my video setup, my hooks, and then just like generally keeping the audience like watching the video. Is just like I learned how to do all that through the modules. So like it's just like, especially going through the modules multiple times and actually soaking in the information, actually making sure you're teachable to the information.
Yeah, because it's crazy. Like I tried to like, obviously like what we tried to like do in there is like, you know, make sure everything was like covered for yourself, whether it be studying, obviously like lighting, angles, recording, editing. And it's like, you know, I think a lot of us, like, you kind of come in this thing, you're like so like gung-ho, you're super excited. It's kind of like you just gotta like refresh it a little bit. Like, okay, let's actually do the work properly in this thing. And that way, again, too, everything is like dialed in for yourself. I guess for you, like, tell me like when you started realizing, like, obviously you start making some more money, right? Like you start seeing the business grow, you start getting some results. What was going through your head when everything started coming together? Like you started making more money every single week, started giving your dad more money every single weekend. Like what was kind of going through your head at the moment in time?
Honestly, I was trying to stay as humble as possible, because that is also one of the traits that I like about myself, is that I'm like a super humble guy. But also like the moment where I realized that like, yo, this is all coming together right now. So my school, everybody in the school kind of knows me, because it's like I'm the barber of the school. But my school has like this news program thing. They had hit me up. They were like, oh, do you want to be part of like our thing? It's called the BullSh. And I remember they came with like all these cameras, and we did like a video, like me cutting hair, answering questions or whatnot. And then it was posted, and I was just like, damn, this kind of feels weird. And then after that, our school had made the state finals, right, for basketball, and it was at a casino. So we went, you know, and I remember the game finished or whatever, and we were leaving. I was just with my friends, you know, we were just all hanging out. A little Asian kid, he was just like right here. I look over to my right, he like tapped me on my shoulder, and then he was like, oh my god, are you the TikTok barber? Are you real cuts? And I was just like shocked as hell. I was like, yeah, what up, bro? And he was like, oh, can I get a picture? And I kid you not, his dad was right next to him, just so shocked, just like confused as hell. What's happening? He was just like, can I get a picture? And I was like, yeah, I got you, bro. I got you. And then after that, I was just like, damn, like. People really know you more than you think.
Absolutely. And it's like, you know, like, I mean, you got to think about it, like, you know, you're obviously posting yourself out there every single day. You're getting your videos to go viral. Of course, people are going to all of a sudden be like, holy shit, like, I recognize you type thing, right? I guess for you, like, how has that kind of like life changed, if anything? I know you're a super humble dude, but has life changed at all for you now? Like, again, too, you're obviously like more popping on social media. You're making 8K per month. Like, has anything changed, like, let's say, like, with school or even just anything like dynamics wise?
Honestly, like, yes, the money is there and everything, but what really changed for me was like my mindset and how I think about things a lot. That's one thing that really changed for me, but also like just the freedom of it, you know? When you put in the work, when you put in the work and you see the results, you get the freedom that comes with it. I mean, if I want to go somewhere, if I want to take a trip, I don't know, tomorrow, I can go if I want to, you know, go out with my friends, I can, you know, like there's nothing really holding me back. And also it's like, dude, who wouldn't want this freedom, you know?
I guess for you, like what was like some of the mindsets overall that you were talking about?
I remember when I was going through my slump or whatever, it was just very draining, and I would just be like, oh, you know, let me just get this done, let me just, you know, finish this up, I'm just kind of just half-assing everything, right? But then one thing thought about was just like, you know, how you do something is how you do everything. So, you know, if you're half-assing one thing, you know, what's gonna stop you from half-assing the next thing that you're doing, right? And then also, I'm not really big into books, but I was reading this book. I forgot what it was called, but I remember I came across this like law of Newton or something. It's like the law of accumulation, right? And it's like a lot of people stop when they don't see results, but you keep going with no results for a year, and then boom, it can all just switch like that. Everything could just flip within one little month, or like one single video. I know that kind of applies to me too, because I was posting for a while, getting mediocre likes, mediocre views, mediocre attention, and then I remember one video just went absolutely crazy, and everyone was talking about it, and then after that, everything just kind of clicked. You know?
Yeah. I guess for you, like what is, like, looking back on everything, like what is one piece of advice you wish you received earlier in your career, right? I know like you're only a year and a half in, but like what's one piece of advice you wish you could have received earlier?
What's one piece of advice like I wish I could have gave myself? Definitely to just keep going at it, you know, no matter how difficult things get, it's just to keep going, especially when you think that like, oh, I'm not getting anywhere with this, or like, oh, like I'm not getting as much attention or something. Just make sure you keep going, keep your drive high, and honestly just, you know, blocking out the noise, because also as you grow and as you get bigger, there will be a lot more noise around you, and like a lot more people saying things about you and whatnot. But honestly, you just gotta be able to block those all out and, you know, just go head on.
I guess I know for me, right, like I'm always trying to like make a lot of barbers understand, like it's not about like, again, to being a barber, but like more like getting yourself to think and act like a business owner. I guess what are the differences that you see yourself like before EM versus now afterwards, like, and the difference you see in yourself of being an actual business owner right now?
Honestly, yeah, like once I joined and once I seen like my barber business isn't just like me cutting people's hair, it's like an actual business that I gotta run. Once I like realized that, everything kind of changed in how I look at things, because then now from there you could kind of see like why people are being held back, why people are going the places they go, is because as long as you think about your barbering being just like something you do on the side or just like a hobby, you're not getting anywhere. Once the moment you think of yourself as a business owner is the moment that you kind of snap out of place, or like, you know, just, you know, get better. Because especially for like when I was raising my prices, a lot of people, even I know like barbers around me, were just telling me I'm crazy. I remember my mom was telling me I'm crazy. She was like, what are you doing? It's just like, and everyone was just like, why? And I was just like, at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, this is my business that I'm running, and it's a business that I need. It's like, this is my income, you know? So whether or not people are trying to hold you back from it, or like people think you're crazy about it, just do it, you know? And if you think it's gonna be better for your business, then so be it, you know?
I think that like derails a lot of people, like, you know, obviously like outside forces, like kind of like, oh, that's dumb, or you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't grow your business, and that would like derail a lot of people. I guess like what was different about like, I guess the way you were thinking, or like take me through the thinking pattern of like for yourself, why didn't you listen to anything that like, you know, maybe outside forces said, and you're like, no, I am doing this thing and I'm actually gonna get the result? Like what was going through your head on that one?
At the end of the day, a lot of people who say things, or like a lot of people who are judging you on your business or whatever, aren't business owners themselves. People aren't gonna judge you for making business. People are not gonna judge you for making business choices. Only the people who aren't business owners. And also at the same time, like none of my decisions that I made for my business was guessed upon. Everything was calculated and tracked, obviously through the EM. And I got advice from you personally. You know, you should raise prices or whatnot. At the end of the day, I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm a person who's in a spot that I want to be in. A person who's done exactly that I'm doing right now is telling me to do this, so why shouldn't I do it, right? No matter what people are saying. This is the person who's, at the end of the day, done what I'm trying to do. So if I'm going to take advice from anyone, it's going to be from my personal coaches, you know?
I guess for you, right? Because like I think also too, like obviously people are like telling you in your ear when you're first getting started overall. How did you manage that? You know, like just make sure you kind of like shut it up, or just make sure you don't pay attention to it overall. Obviously, like, you know, you kind of keep the mind frame of like, no, they're not business owners, but I feel like a lot of people kind of get caught up in like that. They allow like people look like they're like they're like the beliefs about what they think is possible for themselves, right? Bleed onto other people. Like, dude, you're freaking 16, right? Which is incredible. Like, into like a lot of people wouldn't like think that way. Like, how did you go at it when you actually made the investment? People are telling you this is a dumb decision. No, don't do it. Like, what was going through your head at that point in time outside of what we just mentioned?
All right, so honestly, like when I first joined EM, people were like calling me crazy or whatnot, or like just, you know, just kind of judging me based on what I did. And I was just like, at the end of the day, the people who are where I want to be aren't really judging me. Only the people who kind of have these limits on themselves are judging me. And you can never let someone who has a limit on themselves judge you, because at the end of the day, if you hold yourself like limited to things, then you're basically getting nowhere. If you have a cap that you hit and you can't go over that cap, then you can't like go anywhere with that, you know what I mean? So as long as you make sure you don't limit yourself, and as long as you make sure that like you aren't being held to the same spot as the people around you, you should be good. And especially that also comes into the fact to like when you go up, not everyone's meant to go up with you, you know? When you go up, there's people you do have to cut off. There's people who don't deserve the life that you're going for.
I guess for you, Rayo, right? Like, I know like you've been seeing like you were in our like free program for a while, and like you kind of seen our stuff. What kind of like made you like hesitant or like not, or take a little bit longer to even join? Like, what was kind of like in the way overall of like you actually maybe taking that action even sooner?
Honestly, it was just the nervousness of myself, because even while I was on that final closing call, I was nervous as hell. I was like, should I actually do this? But the only thing that made me do it was the discipline in myself, because I myself knew that this was the next step for me. And I can't, same thing going with the limits, I can't limit myself by not doing this, because if I know if I do this, you know, I'm gonna go a lot farther than if I don't do it. And honestly, it's just holding yourself accountable and disciplining yourself to the point where like, even when you know it's super scary, like on a price raise, on anything, investing in yourself, even if it seems like a big chunk of money, you know, you can't hold yourself like limited, because those are the best leaps that you have, especially in business, is when you're super nervous, when you're super scared, when you're super anxious, but you still do it, but you still force yourself to do it, is because once you do it, now you got to force yourself to adapt and force yourself to become bigger, you know?
Okay, so I guess for you, Rayo, right? If you go back to the day before you started our program, right? What advice would you give yourself knowing what you know now?
To make sure you stay consistent, make sure you stay head on, and don't forget your why. A lot of people, they go through things and they just give up because it gets too hard for them or whatever. But during hard times, you can't forget your why, because, you know, my why is to retire my parents, to retire my dad, to stop him from working so much and, you know, putting so much stress on himself. And that's what really kept me going through the whole thing. Even when I was going through that slump, I was like, yeah, I need to wake the fuck up right now, you know? Like, I can't imagine, for me, it was just like, imagine the amount of pain and the amount of struggle that my dad had to go to provide for me. Now this little bit of struggle is holding me back. Now, like, you know, that it kind of makes yourself feel entitled, and it's just like, I gotta keep going.
So, Rayo, right now, what I want you to do, I'll give you like one last thing before we kind of wrap up here. What I want you to think about is like, what is your one message, maybe that other barber who's watching this video right now, what is your one message to them, right? I'll give you like a quick second to think on maybe your message and what you want to send us off with. While Rayo thinks about that, for you guys overall, if you want to see how we scaled Rayo Palma's business from a 2.5K per month business all the way to 8K per month business as a 16-year-old part-time barber, I'll go ahead and put a video down in the link description down below. It's about a 30-minute video. It gives you insight into like the 3 core problems what holds most barbers back from scaling to 20, 30K a month. It'll also give you a breakdown video of our inside of our program overall, so you can kind of see how we help barbers grow and scale to that 20 and 30K a month, just like we're helping Rayo Palma do as well too. So Rayo, for you, what's your message overall?
Just do it. Honestly, no matter what you're thinking, no matter what other people are saying, just do it. Because at the end of the day, for example, I'm only 16 years old. I'm literally no different than anybody else. Whoever's watching this video right now, whoever, you know, is on the other side of the screen right now, if there's one thing you could take away from this video, is to make sure you push yourself, and to make sure that no matter what you think about yourself, no matter what others think about you, is to always be 1% better every single day. Because as long as you're pushing yourself, as long as you remember, like, all these people who are in places where I want to be, or all these people who are doing things that I want to do, they're no different from you. I'm no different from the other person who's making 1K a month barbering. I'm no different from you, you know? I was there a couple months ago, you know? At the end of the day, the only thing that makes you different from anyone else is just the grit and the personal drive that people have. And I'm always thinking to myself about this when I'm, like, cutting hair for, like, you know, I'm, like, cutting hair, and I'll just be, you know, everything's kind of clockwork now, so I just be, like, just thinking. I'd be like, yo, I wonder what, like, Imangaji's doing right now. I wonder what, like, you know, these people, these big influencers, or, like, people who I want to, you know, one day connect with. I wonder what they're doing right now, because at the end of the day, they're also human, just like all of us. There's nothing stopping you from achieving your goals and dreams, except for yourself.
Absolutely, dude. Phenomenal. Rayo, dude, I get into it. Like I told you before we hopped on this call, I've been hearing your name all over, like, every single time we hop on a team call, everybody's like, dude, Rayo Palma just did this, Rayo Palma just did that. So super excited, super happy to finally get you on a customer interview, my guy. Super excited to see more of your growth as well, too. And very excited to see what's coming next for you, okay?
Yes, sir, bro.
Awesome, brother.